Welcome back to Movie Chats, everybody. It's Ryan and Ant here, and we hope you all had a good Easter break. It's been a couple of weeks for us, and we're here today to talk about A Different Man, written and directed by Aaron Schimberg. It's the Sebastian Stan starring movie. So he plays a gentleman called Edward who has facial deformity. He's actually got something called neurofibromatosis, something that's actually near and dear to my heart because I also have neurofibromatosis. So, thankfully, not as severe as the characters in the film. So he's very uh, introverted, no confidence kind of person when we first meet him, and that all changes when he meets a few people in his life.
Does
He
it?
meets, yeah, I think so. Yeah, obviously he meets
Hmm.
Ingrid, his new neighbor. She's obviously, do you know what? I found her to be the heart of the movie. She's one of the few people who didn't, you know, look away from him. She talked to him like a person. She treated him as an adult. I found
She,
anyway.
okay, that would be
Okay.
interesting because I think she's a terrible human being a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. Then obviously, I found it was a little bit similar to The Substance, where he does
Hmm.
this trial drug where
Yeah,
he
true.
becomes almost, well, let's use that term loosely, normal. He becomes, all of his facial deformity falls off, and then he is Sebastian Stan, and then he slowly changes from being that introverted to building confidence and being a bit more sure of himself to the point where maybe to the extreme where he goes a little bit too far. Your
Yeah,
thoughts?
okay, that would be interesting. I do have a bit of a different read on it. Um because yes, he's got his face air quote fixed. And he looks like a very pretty boy because he's Sebastian Stan, right? But then he meets Oswald, who has neurofibromatosis as well, and his face is deformed. But Oswald, I think, is everything that Edward wanted to be and was absolutely not when he had neurofibromatosis. But even after, when now he has a bit more, let's say, of a beauty privilege, he's also not as accomplished and not as at ease in his skin that Oswald is. So for me, this is how I interpreted the movie, that he really he changed his face, but it didn't really fully change his personality. All those years of self-loathing and being not confident, feeling inferior to a lot of other people around him, um, has not gone away.
Yeah, because I wrote, Oswald's he's extroverted, he's confident. He'll do uh, singing in the at the karaoke. He order for other people when he's just such a personality that something that Edward never was.
He is, and he was married and he had a kid, and he ends up with Ingrid, which is something that Edward wanted, but Ingrid never saw him as a potential romantic partner. She saw him, I wouldn't say that she saw him as a friend. I think she had pity for him, and then she used him to write a story, and then didn't even
Yeah.
recognize him when he was wearing the mask that she's supposed to see the face, which is what I didn't like her.
Yeah, that's true because she never did she? Because it was Edward's face, and she never said that's Edward, but it
Yeah,
was it was more of a character to yeah. I didn't pick that up where
you said
to
that. There
her.
is even this stuff about the typewriter when Edward, as looking like Sebastian Stan, is saying, "Oh, where did you get that?" She's not remembering or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's yeah, for me, it's like she used him, she wrote a story, and she really forgot about him. She moved on, which I found
Mm.
very, yeah, disheartening. Um,
It
yeah,
actually makes how apathetic people were towards him even
yeah,
worse because she was never actually wanting to be his friend. She just, yeah, just used him. It was just, he's just his, sorry, he's just her step towards getting a good story.
yeah.
And then at the end, when obviously they're selling it to make a movie,
Mm.
that's even worse again because it's, yeah, that's very, very different take on it. I didn't see that until now. But,
It's yeah. I mean, this is how I felt it, and I felt sorry for Edward to some degree. I mean, he doesn't do everything right, but I felt a lot of empathy when, even if you look normal or even you look handsome, um, doesn't stop you sometimes from feeling ostracized and from not fitting in when you really want to, but it just doesn't happen. And you see those people that are supposed to be your friends or supposed to be people that you're very close with, especially as they are telling his life story, uh, is just being pushed aside, and he's very sad about that. That's why he's acting out as well. But towards the end, even if they had all this success and he went to jail for what he has done, you can see in the scene at the restaurant where they are talking about joining this sort of cult in Canada, which
yep.
is very weird. I mean, they're really far up their butt. And Edward is sort of looking at them and thinking, okay, why did I really want to fit in those people? I just don't fit in. That's just not me. And I felt a lot of empathy towards that because it happened in my life where sometimes I felt that I was not fitting. Sometimes I felt that I was different and I wanted to fit in with a certain crowd, but eventually you just need to be true to yourself and say, hey, you know
Oh,
what? I don't fit and I need to move away and find my crowd.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely found that obviously because he started off so introverted and with no confidence. He did the whole 180 where he almost became a bit of an antagonistic kind of role where he smashes the original hole back. He fights at the uh, fights at the play. He does
Mm.
what he does to his therapist, goes to jail for that. And then at the end, it's almost like he's reverted back to his former self where he's at the dinner. Yeah, he's looking, he can't keep up with their conversation because it's not part of who but what he can't bring anything to that conversation. He looks off to that lady who's sitting by herself, and then he can't choose what he wants for dinner. He can't make a decision. He's gone back to who he was at the very beginning.
Yeah, and that lady is wearing a veil as well, as if she is in mourning. And I think it's supposed to be a symbol of his mourning and grieving his former life with those people, but he's looking away, saying, I really need to move on. There is nothing for me in there, which I quite liked.
Yeah. Read up. I think it was one of the doctors at the original surgery was that lady at the end as well. I was trying to work out
Mm.
if it was what the lady that was there was a doctor that took off his bandage when he cut his finger. I think that was her, but I haven't got confirmation on that.
Mm.
So a bit about the directing. It had a few fade in, fade outs. It was almost like we were watching a play while they were making a
Yeah.
play. I felt it was a bit life imitating art, and so that was well done. I thought it was low budget, which is not something that we've done too much yet.
Yeah, I liked it. It doesn't look like low budget. I mean, it's not wow in your face and a lot of effects and everything. But what I what really stuck with me is that it's timeless because you can't really tell the year. It could be in the 90s, it could be in the 2000, 2010s. But You don't
Yeah.
really know, and I really like that. I really like New York is almost one of the protagonists. It looks very New York, and the production design for that I think needs to be recognized. Um, and there is something around the music and the sound editing that I really liked. It was this sort of jazz, but sometimes it becomes overbearing, and that really reflects his emotional state if he's feeling overwhelmed. And I thought I like that.
I didn't catch on that. There was a scene that I want to see if I might be wrong. When he's walking down the street, he's hearing the sirens going really loud, and he's getting sick. Is that the same street that they did the in 12 Monkeys, where uh, they go to the 12 Monkeys headquarters? I think it was.
I am not sure. I'm not sure. I
It
mean,
could.
don't ask me, but
It
I thought that 12 Monkey was in Philadelphia
was
and
in
this one is in
Philadelphia,
New
was it?
York. I am not sure at all, to be looked up.
That it's just I was just watching. I'm like, oh, that looked like the street from 12 Monkeys. But yeah. All right. Should we get into our ratings, or is there anything else you'd like to bring up on this one?
I Yeah, actually, I have a couple of things. First of all,
Yep.
I want to recognize Sebastian Stan, especially. I thought he was so good from being like the Winter Soldier in the Marvel movies. I think he's actually such a good actor. That was such, yeah, I really liked him, and I'm like, I want to see more from him. I've seen this movie that he made called Fresh, where he plays a bit of an a-hole, and he's very good in it. He's actually a very good actor. I just want to recognize that.
I actually didn't realize that that was him all through the beginning of the movie. I actually thought that that was at one stage. I thought that was Adam Pearson
Me
because
too.
obviously
Yeah.
he's taken off his mask, and I'm like, oh, so I've written down in my notes, Sebastian Stan, 40 minutes in, and then I've done my research afterwards. I'm like, no, that was Sebastian Stan. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness! So I'm glad I'm not the only one that got a little confused by that, because Adam Pearson's obviously quite a bit shorter, and then because he's got scenes where they're walking next to each other. I'm like, maybe it wasn't him.
They made him shorter as well. I looked up his height, and he's
Okay,
like 183 or something. So he's quite a tall guy. But
Adam Pearson,
no, Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan.
But he looked small-ish in the movie. I mean, Ingrid is very tall. Like she's
Yep.
178, so she's quite tall, especially for a woman. But
Yep.
even next to that, like they made him smaller than her, which was quite interesting. Um, so, yeah, and I had another thing that I wanted to ask you. Why do you think he stabs his therapist? How did you interpret that?
Well, I had no idea. I've read a couple of reviews, and I've seen some, and it's like it's because he's so angry with what's going on in his world, and it's just I guess the trainer said something about, or the therapist said something negative about Oswald, and he's taken that to literally, and he's gotten angry, and he's taken his anger out of the therapist. But yeah, that just came out of nowhere. I was just, what am I watching right now? I just because yeah, that just was very bizarre. Was it
Yeah.
just so was it so they could do a big time jump, and he could come back to them when he's older, and that's just a
Hmm.
way to make a big big time jump. Yeah, that really
Maybe.
confused me. I will bring up one more thing that I'm actually a little bit annoyed about, that they actually didn't bring up the condition he's got. They
Hmm.
didn't bring up the word neurofibromatosis, and I thought that they would have,
Yeah.
considering it's something that obviously Adam Pearson has. It's what's caused his facial deformity. Yeah, I was a little bit, because that's the whole reason why I chose this movie. It's like, yeah, I've got that condition. Let's watch that movie, and then they didn't even recognize it.
Is that why you were
Yeah,
saying, because before we started recording, you told me that's not what I was expecting for a movie? Is that
yeah,
why?
yeah. That's why. Yeah, and the whole narrative about it as well. I had actually went in blind. I didn't know what I was going to be watching, and then that's what we saw, and it was different.
It was different.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Shall
All
we
right,
get into our scores?
let's do
I'm
it.
going to give it a 3.5. I liked it. I didn't love it, but yeah, good acting, very much so from Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson as well. I liked it, but yeah, I won't watch it again.
Hmm. I give it a 4 out of 5. I went in blind as well. I mean, I knew the setup a little bit, but that was pretty much it. This guy he's got a deformed face and he's gonna undergo a treatment and then look handsome. That's all I knew, pretty much the setup, but where it was gonna go and the tone of it, I knew nothing, and I went in blind, and I quite liked it. I it just made me think about a lot of things about how I interpreted how the characters acted. Quite liked it. I like the settings. I like the music. I like the way it made me feel. I even like the humor. I mean, it's very dry, but there is some very good joke. For example, I think the best one is when there is there's one guy that one of the neighbors that commits suicide, and there is the ambulance outside and it's blocking the street, and then there is an ice cream
Oh.
truck that is coming and he's blaring the ice cream truck music and he's stuck and he's like, move the ambulance. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it's like it's dark, but I thought it was
Yeah,
hilarious. Sebastian
it's
Stan
just
was amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, very typical New York. I don't give a don't give a F.
Yeah,
Get out my way.
yeah, exactly. So no, I really liked it. So yeah, 4 out of 5.
Very good. All right. Well, I think that wraps up today's episode. Did you agree with our take out there? Please let us know. Hit us up on social media and please like, reply, or subscribe. It helps with our algorithm. And until next time.
The next time.